Hello, it's me. I am back once again, a week late, as seems to be my usual running late with these episodes. I apologize once again. I can't seem to help myself. I will also apologize for the background noise. I am at a Brugger's Bagels. It is a Sunday morning, and it is freaking cold outside, and I'm not ready to go do my long run. So I thought I'd grab some yummy bagels and let the sun do its thing outside. So there are kids chirping, there's music playing, people talking behind me, ambient sounds, we'll call it. So what do we call that? It's something. Ambient noises is something. It's something. I don't know if people in the audio industry would know what I'm trying to say, but this background noise. So I hope to put out a second podcast episode today. This one is, I put a call out a while back and repeatedly, no pressure, anybody, but to have someone come on, maybe guest host or whatever. And my friend Mark kindly sent some audio in of him talking a little bit about how he got into listening to the show, a little bit about what maybe brought him to look for the show, and then just kind of hey, this is me, Mark. This is kind of my life, and I really like it. His sound quality is amazing, so he's going to make me look bad once his part starts. And I hope you like it. It's just a brief little intro. It's not too long. But it's great. It's a nice insight. It's nice to hear another voice on the podcast. I think, and I'm going to need some feedback on this from you all. It's a little different than what I'm used to as far as having someone on the show, which would be more interactive, kind of a question and answer kind of thing. So we'll see how that goes. I would love to get Mark on a Skype call or whatever and have some back and forth talk if he's up for that. So let me know. Let me know. Everybody listen in. Let me know what you think. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea to do the format this way? Whatever. I mean, this show is about you all. It's not about, it's about me, but it's not about me, right? So I'm going to duck out of the way and let Mark do his thing. And then, maybe I'll be back at the end of it. Yeah, I'll be back at the end of it. We'll just have a listen. And, until then, but I don't know what I'm going to say. I'm really out of my sorts today. But it is Sunday, March 13th, 2022. And as of this recording, I'm still depressed, but I'm not dead.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Jammu podcast. Today, it's me for at least part of the podcast. I know that JP was asking for a co-host, so I volunteered, and here I am. I don't know if I'll be an actual co-host, but I messaged with JP, and we thought I could make a little blurb about myself, and I had some ideas for the podcast, so we'll see what happens later. No need to worry about it. All right, let's get started. So my name is Mark. I'm actually up in Canada. I live in Vancouver, which isn't as snowy or as cold as the other part of Canada. I'm a family man. I've got a boy aged 18 who moved out this year, and my girl's in grade 10, both really nice kids. I'm very proud of them. And my age is 52. It's kind of strange or meaningful to me. I went through some career difficulties about 3 years ago. At that time, I was at home, not knowing if my career would continue or what I was going to do. Of course, when you're taking care of your family, it's stressful to face a situation like that. I was checking out podcasts on mental health, and I also, at that time, went to the doctor and finally got on some antidepressant meds, which I'd never done in my life. I got a mild dose of Wellbutrin, And I stayed on that for 2 years until last summer. And then I just quit and didn't feel any adverse effects when I quit. It was a mild dose, and I figured at that time that I was feeling stronger and could try to get off of them. And actually, it was true. So I think that medication did help me to, calm myself and, have a little extra edge when I needed it. And things worked out, and my career didn't end, and I'm still working. And, as long as I'm working, then I feel not so anxious or depressed, as long as I can support my family and so on. At that time, I listened to Jammu, and that was earlier episodes, obviously. And at the time, I found it to be a little dark and so on. I guess JP was struggling. Or maybe I was listening to earlier episodes or a mix of earlier and current episodes at that time, 3 years ago. Whatever the case, I listened to about 10 or 20 episodes, and then I didn't listen to it anymore. It was a little dark. I didn't see that it was going anywhere. I wasn't sure what JP was up to. And, I would check in on him once in a while to see if he was still alive and all that. And then I came back to listening to it about 6 months ago, or maybe a year ago, and JP was more healthy, working, and, not as down in the dumps and so on. So I did listen since then, communicated by email or text a few times with JP, telling him that I felt a connection to his podcast and him, and that to me he felt kind of like a friend that I cared about and so on. Just going to talk about my situation here. It's a little bit odd. At the moment, I'm living away from my family for work, and I have been for about a year, though I do go home a few times each year for a month or something like that, which makes a huge difference. I'm hoping my family will move down from Vancouver Island this summer, but that might not necessarily happen. I'm thinking of changing jobs as well, so we'll have to wait and see. But living where I do is quite uncomfortable. For example, it's hard for me to cook here. My diet isn't so great. I ride a motorbike. The gas is so high. I decided if I'm going to live down here to work in the city, I want to have something for me that's fun. And I hadn't ridden motorbikes in 25 years or 20 years or whatever. So I did buy an 1100, and that's my daily ride. I don't have any car. And the winter has been tough, a lot of rain, lots of cold temperatures. Sometimes I have to take transit to work, but it has been fun. I'm glad to have it. One recent thing that happened was I almost sold my bike and bought this super duper killer machine that I'm glad I didn't buy, because I just I'm not in the position to lay out $3,000 more and have this huge machine. I don't even really have parking and so on. So I'll stick with my 1100, which is all fixed up and running so well and very, very easy to ride. It's a V-Star Yamaha cruiser. And about my job, I do like my job actually, which is great. That's very rare for me. I've always enjoyed certain aspects of the different jobs I've had in this career. It's been a real slog. I've had lots of troubles, tribulations, but I actually found a place where I feel really good, so I'm very thankful for that. And I feel safe and secure there, which is most important. Just a little bit about my work week this week. So on the same note as JP often talks about work, and I think that's very important because work is such a big part of life for family people as well. And I sometimes feel like a slave and so on like that, as maybe you do too. Yesterday was an easy day for me, but I did work from home yesterday. I was hoping to do some work at night and so on, but I was just so exhausted. I couldn't do anything. I could barely even make dinner and eat. And that's something to do with my mental health. My job is fatiguing, not so much physically, but at 52, I do get fatigued. And sometimes when I want to do work or go out or do something, I'm just feel like I'm paralyzed. I just don't have the motivation to go or do. I mean, even take a shower, though I do take a shower when I have to or whatever. Like I do shower regularly and so on like that. But you know what I mean? I won't even want to get up and get a glass of water sometimes. It's just like paralysis. So I have been making some attempts at recording for JP, but I threw away my early attempts. I wrote some notes today, and I'm really going to do it and try to do it all in one go. And it is Saturday morning at about 9:30 here in the West Coast. Just some history of my depression. I think it started at an early age. I felt a little bit strange, unique, alone. And from a young age, I did have some depression and ideation, like JP. I actually grew up in the 80s. I had friends that were depressed or acting out. I had an early suicide attempt when I took a bottle of Tylenol before school one morning. I don't think my parents knew about it. And about a little while after that, I made myself throw up and went to school. And I never attempted suicide again after that, though I thought about it many, many, many times. At that moment, then I feel like after I took all these pills, like 50 Tylenols, I think I thought to myself, oh, to hell with them. I'm not going to let them get me down. Whatever it takes, I'm going to go forward. I'm not going to give up just like that. At school in those days and as an early adult, I think people looking at me would think he's got depression. And of course, back then, people didn't know all about it like now. They still don't pretty much know much about it. As you know, they're always saying, how are you? And all these things. So my friends, as I said, were in the 80s. It was kind of a weird time with the recession and so on. Our job prospects were bleak. We were all into drinking and drugging back then. And some of my friends went to art college. I didn't go to college, but worked construction and odd jobs like that. Kind of a hippie type person. But basically, as far as my feelings then, I did have anxiety. I think I covered up. I had depression and a heck of a lot of negative self-talk. And I just wanted to say at this point that I don't have as much negative self-talk now. I kind of do it sometimes, but it's more jokingly and don't take it too seriously. And as I age, I feel like I don't care as much to worry about my situation. As long as I have work. I think when I felt threatened at work last year, or that was this year actually, I did feel I immediately switched to ideation, but that blew over quickly. The job trouble blew over quickly. So I don't know, if I did lose my career, I'd probably be right back there in the ideation and stuff. As it is, I'm off meds. And at that time, I could feel like, I've got, anxiety, depression. I should get some meds. I went to the doctor, but they were just like, why don't you try this for 6 months and see how it feels? And I was like, forget about it. And I did get diagnosed with mild chronic depression by a doctor a few years ago. And in his words, that's like being a little bit down, a lot of the time. But actually, I don't feel like I'm really that way. But I'm not the type of person that's all super cheerful. Though actually, I'm not too bad about it. I'll tell you more about it later, where I work, how I interact with my family and so on. I do try to stay positive, have a positive appearance to everyone, of course, and so on. And I feel pretty natural about that. So it's a success at age 52 that I'm finally feeling pretty good. All right. I do have some other issues. I'll tell you about it if I come back another time. I thought today I would just introduce myself. I'm going to come back later in the night and tell you how my day went, and that'll be the end of it. Just before I go, how I feel now, I do have a lot of work to do today. I am working from home for free today, and that's something I have to do once in a while. It's part of my job, but it's okay. But it is a big working day for me. So I couldn't do anything yesterday after work. So I'm feeling pretty determined, pretty healthy. I had some coffee, didn't have breakfast yet. And actually, I have some time coming up soon for a while, and I'll get to go see my family, my wife, my kid, and my dog. And I'll also stop in and see my some other family on the way to go home. And I guess that is it. So I'll check back in with you in the nighttime and let you know how my day went. I just decided a format like that is similar to JP's, where he talks about going to work and so on. It's pretty hard for me on work days to do that, so I may in the future try that. And it's great to meet you all. I think JP is an important person for me and probably for anyone listening to this. I just want to say hi to JP, and I'm glad you're feeling healthier seemingly than when I first listened. And I think you're doing a good job, and you seem like a really nice person that can help others and keep up the good work. I'll check back in later tonight, and I hope you all have a great day. Okay, see you later. Bye-bye. Hi, everyone. I'm back. It's actually the next day. Sure enough, I couldn't complete the podcast last night. I'll just tell you about my day yesterday briefly. So I actually did work pretty well for a few hours. Got quite a bit done. Canceled some work and said I'm not going to do it. And then I just gave up and was paralyzed. I couldn't do anything for the rest of the day, so I just amused myself watching Netflix, playing online poker and silly things, cooking a meal and so on. It was fine, relaxing. And got up this morning. I still have to work for an hour or two today. It's not that much. And my day's okay. I did have some trouble with the insurance company, so I'm a little worried, but I'll take care of that on Monday and see what's up with an accident my son had while I was teaching him how to drive. Just scraped our fender and stuff like that. No, I just hit a fence. So just the thoughts I had while I was, having my day yesterday. One of the thoughts was that I always think the same thoughts, so it doesn't really matter when I tell them. I did write down some notes, so here it goes. I don't know if I mentioned, but it's my first time podcasting. I'm not on meds. I'm not in therapy. I'm not in AA or anything like that. My case is mild, but it's lifelong, and it does define me quite a bit. I would like to join a support group, but I just find that when I look for them in my area, wherever I am, the only things available are for hardcore AA and Narcotics Anonymous, and I'm not really into that, because if you go to that type of support group, then you're going to find that the people there might not have much in common with me, because their cases are more severe. They may be homeless and, have a lot of troubles more than me. So, I just have my thoughts here. So something is that as I get older, I don't seem to care so much about money. You might think that's kind of wisdom, or just apathy, I don't know. One thing I've learned over my years is to be easy on myself, and that not many people really care about me or others. Like, sure, my family cares, my coworkers care, but how much do they really care? I don't know. sometimes I think for all the little things like how much money I have, how I look, and things like that, nobody really cares about those types of things. Another thought that's been on my mind for a long time is that obviously this world is a difficult place. We've got wars going on, COVID, environmental problems, politics, and so on. I'm definitely a liberal for sure, proud liberal. And one thing that causes a lot of stress for me in my life, and probably for most people, and probably for JP as well, is making money, career. That's a lot of stress. So I find that modern life, if you're not set up perfectly, there's probably a lot of people struggling for money, not enjoying their work, and so on. So that's a tough thing. One big problem I have is loneliness. So I do have good people at work. That's enjoyable, but my social life is not much, especially in COVID time. That's something I'd like to improve. I do have some friends, but not that many. So I'm quite lonely. Other than that, people looking at me would probably think I look okay. Often people say I look tired, but I haven't had that much of that lately. I'm just making sure I get lots of rest and trying to, look good, save my energy for work and so on. Then when I get home, I don't care about it. I just lie around. And lastly, I just know that depression, anxiety, and ideation are still alive in me. They're always below the surface, and I don't think there is really a cure. So that's something I'd like to talk about if I come back later, like another time. I have one idea is maybe I have a bunch of topics to talk about, and every time I come back, I could talk for the topic for 10 to 15 minutes, and people could reply if they like or anything like that. But I have some ideas I'll mention to JP. And so for me, joining this or volunteering to try this is kind of me trying to find a support group or trying to help others. In my job, I do help lots of people, but they do help me, but not, it's not like a support group, right? So that's something I've been thinking and looking for a long time. And because of where I've been living, small towns, and now in a big city, but still I'm not finding what I'm looking for in a support group. So that's one of the big reasons I reached out to JP when he asked for a volunteer. So again, it's been great to communicate with you, and I hope I can again. And I'd be willing to if anybody's interested. So cheers from Mark in Vancouver. Hope you all have a great week, and best of luck out there. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Okay, so that was Mark. I hope you all enjoyed it. I enjoyed listening to it while I was enjoying my bagels. So let me know what you think. Mark, I appreciate your time and your effort and you opening up yourself to share with the listeners of the show here. You're fantastic. I'd love to hear more about your story and how you're doing and just kind of get into the nitty gritty of, pick the brain of Mark. That would be fantastic. But everybody else, thank you so much for listening. Again, I'm going to try to come back with another episode, maybe here at Brugger's or maybe while I'm still in the car waiting for the sun to warm up the world. So until then, everybody, thanks for listening. Be safe and be well.